Doctor, and welcome to the Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Memorial Day, Monday, May 26, 2025, and tonight I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw. Alright, let's kick things off talking about these Money in the Bank qualifying matches. So we had two, and they were both for the men. We had the first one featured Penta Cero Miedo versus Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable. Now, this was actually a really great match. I actually really enjoyed this match. Now, does anybody else think it's a little odd that El Grande Americano never shows up when Chad Gable has a match? I think that's a little strange, which I think is kind of proof that Chad Gable is El Grande Americano, no matter how hard they try to play it off. But anywho, El Hijo de Vikingo was, in the crowd, and he's going to have a match with Chad Gable at Worlds Collide, which should be a really great match. I'm actually looking forward to it, especially because I'm going to Worlds Collide. So Chad Gable cheap shots him, which, El Hijo de Vikingo is going to get him back. And there's this spot where Dragon Lee takes out Penta, who's on the announce table, and it's actually a really cool spot. And so, like I said, Vikingo cheap shots Gable, and he actually gets busted open. He's bleeding from his forehead. And Penta wins after he hits the Mexican Destroyer to Dragon Lee and the Penta Driver to Chad Gable. So really happy that Penta Cero Miedo qualified. It's unfortunate that his brother Rey Fenix didn't qualify over on SmackDown. But, he'll get his time. So the second Money in the Bank qualifying match was actually the main event. It was featured Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn versus Seth freaking Rollins. If WWE folks don't know Vikingo, you're in for a treat. Exactly. Vikingo has appeared in AEW. He's appeared in TNA. He's really, really great. It's going to be a fantastic match. I cannot wait. I'm going to be there live to see Chad Gable versus El Hijo de Vikingo, and it's going to be a really fun match. Alrighty. So the second one, like I said, was Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins. Well, this is a great match. Great main event. Here's the thing, though. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed both were out there to try to help Seth Rollins win. Jey Uso came out to help Sami Zayn. Now, here's the interesting part. They had Dominic come out. Dominic hadn't gotten involved in Judgment Day business at all. And it's kind of odd that he came out. He had a chair, and he slid the chair into the ring. This allowed Seth Rollins to stomp Finn Balor on the chair, and Seth Rollins ended up winning this. And then at the end, CM Punk's music plays, and he hits a GTS to Seth Rollins, and then he runs away. It's kind of like a hit and run, pretty much. So it's interesting here that, Dom tried to help Finn, and he lost the match. Which begs the question, had Dom not gotten involved, would Finn Balor win this match? I still think that they're teasing the breakup of the Judgment Day, and we'll get to that when I get to that segment. But overall, I thought both qualifying matches were really, really good. But I like the Penta versus Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee one a little bit better. Okay, so Monday Night Raw kicked off with Seth Rollins cutting a promo, and Paul Heyman introduces everybody and stuff. And basically, the whole point of this is that Seth Rollins says that he was going to qualify and win Money in the Bank. Now, Seth Rollins has won Money in the Bank before, as we all know. The Heist of the Century, he cashed in at WrestleMania 31, which I was there for, on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So we'll see if he's able to repeat history here. But, this was your typical opening segment. Okay, so next we get... That's when we get the first men's Money in the Bank. So we get a Judgment Day segment. And if you guys remember, Finn Balor brought Roxanne Perez to the group, even though she's technically not a member of the Judgment Day. But anywho, Roxanne gives a plate or box of chicken nuggets to Dominic. And I guess it seems like she was about to massage him when Liv walked in on them. And Finn Balor's just laughing. So I feel like Finn Balor orchestrated this whole thing to kind of split up Dom and Liv, like slowly pick apart Judgment Day. And Dom calls Raquel chismosa, which basically means nosy. Like she likes to gossip, basically. That's what it means. So, alright. Next we get Rusev versus Akira Tozawa. This was just an enhancement match, so to speak. But Rusev won by submission, and at the end, Sheamus came out and he stared down Rusev. Now, you guys remember years ago, Rusev and Sheamus were part of the League of Nations, which went nowhere, honestly. Finn's stirring the pot and smiling. Oh, yeah, he is definitely stirring the pot. So I guess we're going to see a Sheamus versus Rusev feud. It should be interesting, especially, like I said, they do have history because they were in the League of Nations. Next, we get a Sami Zayn segment, and he was basically talking about how he should have ran out there and tried to stop, Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. But Jey kind of tells him they got to be smart and pick their battles, and he reminds him that he's got his back, which is why he came out in the main event. So we got a triple threat match for the tag titles. It's a New Day versus the War Raiders versus American Made. This was actually a really fun match. I actually really like this match. Of course, American Made and the New Day were working together to, kind of eliminate the War Raiders from this match. But, the New Day backstabbed the American Made and they ended up victorious. That's not a surprise here. I'm sure American Made and Chad Gable are going to confront them and kind of figure like, hey, what's going on? What happened? But yeah, I'm not the least bit surprised that this happened. I think the New Day was just trying to use American Made to rid themselves of the War Raiders. So next we got a damage control segment, and pretty much the Liv and Raquel run into Kairi and Io Sky, and Liv makes fun of Kairi for failing to qualify for Money in the Bank, so she suggests having a match tonight. We got a Jey Uso segment / promo, and he's basically talking. Well, he's about to start talking about Money in the Bank when he is interrupted by Gunter. And Gunter basically congratulates Jey for, the Usos being a WWE for 15 years and for having his first successful title defense against Logan Paul. But that he's basically holding that title longer than he expected. And Jey basically tells Gunter that he isn't overlooking him and he'll see him at Phoenix and he promises to make him tap out again. So I honestly feel like Gunter is probably not going to be Jey because I think the plan, well, at least I think Seth Rollins is going to be the one to take the title off of Jey. Especially with the rumors that Gunter's going to face Goldberg in a retirement match. I don't think Gunter's taking that title off of Jey. So we have a match between Liv Morgan and Kairi Sane. This is a decent match. This was Liv Morgan's first match back since she was filming a movie. And I have to say, the whole point of this was that, Roxanne Perez comes out and Raquel, she distracts the ref. Now, Roxy she claims to be helping Liv, but ends up causing Liv this match. Kairi Sane is victorious, and this leads into another Judgment Day segment. Now, the audio was a little wonky, so you couldn't really tell what they were talking about initially. But Liv was kind of like, she kind of blamed Raquel because she said that Raquel was a veteran out there. So again, Finn Balor is just stirring the plot and planting seeds here and there. We're going to get the breakup of the Judgment Day. I'm assuming based on what happened in the main event, Finn Balor is going to be pissed at Dominic. So we get a Lyra Akira promo / segment. Honestly, I was not a huge fan of this promo. Thank goodness Becky Lynch came out because I was just not a huge fan of the promo. Basically, the whole point of this is that Becky, once again, is going to challenge Lyra Akira for that Intercontinental title, and she says that if Lyra beats her, she will never challenge for that title again. But that when she wins, Lyra has to raise her hand when she wins at Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn is backstage. I like Lyra, but she's trying on the promo. So, oh yeah, she definitely needs some improvement, some work there, because that was not a good promo. Sami Zayn is walking backstage, and he gets interrupted by Karrion Kross, who basically tells him, like, he should have taken the deal and gone over to SmackDown. And Sami tells Kross that he doesn't have time for mind games. Karrion Kross basically tells Sami he's never going to win a title, and Sami says he's going to deal with Karrion Kross later. And then you can see, like, New Day kind of talking to Grayson Waller backstage. So it seems like New Day's kind of making deals left and right just to keep those tag titles. In regards to Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, like, I feel like we're going to get a match between them. I feel like that's what this is leading to, a match between Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross. So I'm going to stop right there because I already talked about the main event, which was a Money in the Bank qualifying match, which Seth Rollins won. So overall, on a scale from 1 to a Sean Spears perfect 10, I can see Karrion is like the conscious tiny devil on the shoulder. Oh, that's true. That's a good analogy here. I didn't think about it that way. So, in terms on a scale from 1 to Sean Spears perfect 10, I'd say this is an 8 out of 10. Like an 8 out, I think this is an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a pretty good Monday Night Raw. I really liked a lot of the matches, except for Rusev versus Akira Tozawa. But I thought it was a pretty great show, better than Saturday night's main event. Deja Vu with Dominic costing the match same way Damien did SummerSlam 2023. Oh, that's right. That's right, I forgot about that. Which is going to lead to the breakup of the Judgment Day. Alrighty then. So with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continuous support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.